This mini PC might seem like any other mini PC. It's small, powerful, and some super fast I/O. But there's one feature that's hiding under the hood. It comes equipped with a full-fat PCIe slot that can be used in conjunction with the accompanying external GPU to provide a full-level desktop experience on a mini PC. And while this certainly feels premium and it works pretty well, I'm struggling to see who exactly it's for. So let's go over what all of this is and how well it works, and see if maybe this is something that would work into your desk setup right after this video sponsor.
When you install Windows on your Steam Deck or any other PC for that matter, you're going to need to activate it to unlock all the settings. Why spend a ton of money for a code when you can use the sponsor of today's video, SCDKey? You can purchase Windows keys at a large discount, and to get 25% off your order, use code JASON, that's JASON, to get 25% off your order. After purchasing, you'll get your code pretty much instantly and be able to unlock your computer's full potential. And remember that all Windows 10 Pro users can upgrade to Windows 11 for free at any time in the future using these keys. Just take your code, go to your Windows activation menu, pop it in, and boom. Windows is activated, and you should be on your way. Thanks to SCDKey.
This is the Beelink GTi12 and EX docking station, and for full disclosure, Beelink did not sponsor this video, but they did send this item over as a review unit. They don't get access to this video before posting it, and they had no say in the content. The GTi Ultra series is a new line of mini PCs by Beelink featuring some very beefy Intel-based CPUs. The most expensive two being the Core Ultra 185H and 155H. Two really powerful mobile CPUs, but are quite expensive. This review features the cheapest of the bundles, featuring an Intel Core i9-12900H, 32 gigs of DDR5 RAM, and 1 terabyte of storage space. So this is a premium little mini PC compared to some of its brothers and sisters. Considering its beefy insides, it's actually substantially larger than your average mini PC, but it's still very small and could easily fit on anyone's desk or behind their monitor. Like all good mini PCs, we are spoiled by a bevy of input ports. On the front, we have a 10 gig USB-A, SD card reader, 10 gig USB-C, and a 3.5mm headphone port. On the back, we have the standard power port, a 40 gig Thunderbolt 4 USB-C, another audio jack, HDMI display port, two 2.5 gig Ethernet ports, and 4 more 10 gigabit USB-A ports. So there is a lot of room for expansion on this thing utilizing these super fast USB ports. And of course there is that PCIe slot, but more on that later. Let's open up the hood and see what we're working with. Inside we have 32 gigs of DDR5 RAM running at 5600 megatransfers per second, and it's running a dual channel, which apparently can be upgraded to a maximum of 96 gigabytes of RAM. Alongside it is the 1TB PCIe 4.0 M.2 NVMe SSD, and there is an open NVMe slot in case you want to add more super fast storage. The CPU powering this unit is the i9-12900H, which is a mobile chip with 14 cores, 6 being performance, 8 being efficient, and a total of 20 threads. The max turbo frequency is up to 5 GHz, so this thing is on the upper end of what I would call beefy. Now in terms of a mini PC, this thing slaps. It comes with stock Windows 11 out of the box with no bloatware, and performs fantastically as a work PC, light video editing, Photoshop, and other software that would have no issues running on it. Now the 12900H isn't really great at gaming on its own. Sure, you can do just fine playing esports titles at 1080p, retro emulation, or some older AAA titles at 30 FPS maybe, but overall its strong point certainly is not gaming. And that's where the second part of this review comes in, the EX docking station. You can buy these two items in a bundle, but they also offer them separately. The EX docking station is incredibly well made. No jank to be found anywhere here. It's solid, heavy, and just feels premium. It features a full-size PCIe slot to fit most consumer graphics cards out there. And to connect to our mini PC, we can skip the Oculink and Thunderbolt connectors and just go directly into the PCIe port on the side of the machine. Simply take off the silicone cover, line it up, and slap it in. This is great because we aren't losing any performance converting the graphics signal into our computer. And it has an added bonus of having a built-in 600 watt power supply, so it natively supports video cards all the way up to the RTX 4090 and the RX 7900 XTX. The only caveat is that it only comes with two 6+2 pin connectors to power the GPU, so if you have one of those really jumbo graphics cards that require 3 6+2s, you might need to look elsewhere. Oh, and concerning jumbo cards, the docking station has a mounting spot for dual slot cards, but if you have a triple slot card, it won't fit. So you'll have to remove your bracket with a few screws and it should fit just fine, but you won't be able to screw it down, so just be careful. The dock also has extra PCIe lane to spare in case you want to add even more NVMe storage or a Wi-Fi card. It even has the antenna ports on the outside to support that. I'm not sure why you'd want to add another Wi-Fi card because there is one built into the mini PC, Maybe you'd want a super fast one, I don't know. The only other port on the dock is this USB 2.0, which I'm guessing is here in case you need to provide USB power to something. But enough yapping, let's test out the performance of this thing. Obviously, we need to plug in the docking station as well as the mini PC, line up the PCIe port on the mini PC with the extrusion on the docking station, and simply click it in. It's that easy. Now the docking station can apparently support most graphics cards, and Beelink claims the RTX 4090 and 7900 XTX are acceptable too. So I'm going to take them up on that, but I can't really afford an RTX 4090. So we're going to be using this RX 7900 XTX. I also can't afford this. I'm borrowing it from a friend, and he's been begging me to send it back to him. I hope he didn't see that I just hit the table with it. So we just simply plug the GPU into the PCIe slot and plug in the two PCIe power cables. Nice. And that's about it. We plug our monitor into the graphics card directly now and turn on both machines. Windows will automatically recognize that we are using this graphics card and attempt to download some drivers for it. But it's always best to get drivers directly from the AMD or NVIDIA website and install them yourself. This is a very strong card that can handle even up to 4K gaming, but I'm going to do my benchmarks in 1440p just because I feel like that's a more common resolution most people use these days. And remember, your performance will vary wildly depending on what exact graphics card you use. This is just an example to show how much that 12900H can push a really strong GPU while in the EX docking station. First up is of course Hitman World of Assassination. And I like the benchmark on this game because it's just a bunch of very high particle scenes walking around a manor. Now I would never play on ultra settings because it's just kind of stupid, but I wanted to push this machine to its absolute max. So what you're looking at here is 1440p and everything set to ultra. And even with that, we were able to average 145 FPS, which is pretty nutty. But if you check out the CPU usage during this entire thing, the highest it ever got was 60%, meaning there's still room left on the table to turn up the resolution to 4K. And despite the mini PC being absolutely tiny, the CPU never thermal throttled or hit above 82C, which is warm, but is to be expected in this form factor. Red Dead Redemption 2 is another game that is still pretty tough to run even to this day. So I cranked everything to ultra and turned off any kind of help from FSR, and I ran in the built-in benchmark. And even at 1440p, we averaged about 145 FPS. And once again, the CPU temp hovered around 83 degrees C, but it was pretty steady throughout the entire benchmark. If I was playing a single player game like this on this machine, I'd probably crank the resolution to 4K. In my opinion, games like this are just fine at 60 to 100 FPS and would just be an overall better experience of 4K. But this is still really good and it looks absolutely gorgeous. The experience was strangely similar when testing out the Cyberpunk 2077 benchmark. There is no ultra setting on this game, so I just set everything to the highest it can go, which is called high, and at 1440p we averaged 148 FPS. It looks great, and it's awesome to see that we're able to access the full power of that GPU even in this kind of weird setup. Alright, let's try out a game that came out recently. Here's Black Myth Wukong's built-in benchmark. Now this game is running on the Unreal 5 engine, which is pretty insanely difficult to run. You really gotta push your GPU to get even a few frames. The game even comes with dynamic resolution turned on, so I turned it off and turned all the other settings to high on 1440p, and the results are pretty good. We averaged 83 FPS throughout the entire benchmark, which if you are tuned into the benchmark results of this game, that's pretty dang good. The GPU usage is up to basically 100%, so we are actually utilizing that entire GPU, which just feels fantastic. Another modern game, Space Marine 2, released recently, and it's another beautiful looking game. I once again turned everything up to its highest setting no matter what, and the game doesn't have a built-in benchmark, so I just went through the start of the game. And even at the most hectic moments, we were averaging about 85 FPS. This was a super good playing experience, and as you can see, the game ran beautifully. No matter how many Tyranids they threw at us, it would not slow the setup down. Great performance all around, and I will say I kind of like the look of the entire setup. I think everything is well made, easy to connect together, and looks a lot less janky than other eGPU setups. Now this exact configuration with the 12900H mini PC and the docking station is currently listed at $738, which might seem like a lot, but in the world of mini PCs, where there's a lot of unique designs being implemented and innovative ideas being tossed around, I really thought this was going to cost well over $1,000. 740 isn't exactly cheap, but this isn't being advertised as a low budget option, so I think it's right on point. You can buy the mini PC on its own for $639, meaning the docking station is being added for only $100. I actually do think it's a good bargain. $100 for eGPU that comes with a 600 watt power supply, the extra slots for NVMe or Wi-Fi, as well as direct access to a PCIe port is a really good deal. Again, in the world of mini PCs. The only part where this falls flat is when it's compared to alternatives. If you're only concerned about space constraints, you could very easily put together an ITX gaming PC that is a similar size as the entire bundle, or maybe a little bit bigger, but it's going to be a very similar footprint. You'd have to include the knowledge and kind of a headache of building your own ITX PC, and you don't get a warranty on your build like the Beelink one does. So you might save a little money going that route, but there are some downsides as well. Alternatively, you can forget the mini PC entirely and just go with a gaming laptop. They have very little footprint, are extremely portable, and include a built-in monitor. But if you are looking for raw performance, it's going to be difficult to find a laptop that rivals the amount of power this rig can put out for a similar price. I'm sure it exists, but again, there's going to be caveats. So while I look at the Beelink bundle and just think it's just so cool and innovative and just well made and works well, I can't help but wonder, what is the exact use case? The only one I could think of is someone who doesn't want to build a PC, which is fair, who also doesn't want a laptop, also fair, but wants a PC that is portable, but not the graphics portion. I'm thinking maybe someone who is away at college or something. Maybe they have the entire bundle in their dorm room, and when they go back home on the weekends or holidays, they just unequip the PC and toss it into their bag, since they have another setup at their parents' house or something. Maybe a child of divorce can have a GPU and docking station at both parents' house, so they only have to bring the mini PC to both setups and have full-fat gaming performance no matter what. That's obviously going to be pretty expensive, but hey, their parents are divorced, okay? They're definitely going to be trying to buy the kids love. My final conclusion, this thing is awesome. I love the innovation and design. It works really well. It's not obscenely overpriced, but I'm just struggling to see who it's for and wondering if Beelink is trying to solve a problem that doesn't exist. If you looked at this and thought that it's perfect for you and you want to pick one up, I'll have a link in the description so you can check it out. But please comment below and tell me how this thing would work for you personally. I'm really eager to see how you guys would use something like this in your personal setups. If you'd like to see me build a really high performance ITX small form factor PC, check out this video here where I made one using Deepcool's new chassis, although if you're in the States, you'll have to pick up another case. RIP. My name's Jason. Thanks for watching.